behind. We had a budget amount in goal area 5 of $892 and in goal area 1 of $4,500. So the majority of the $4,500 was going towards transportation costs, $2,200, and program development, $1,800. And then the rest was for staff curriculum writing, and that was $500. And so what I would anticipate is that the $1,800 for program development and the $500 for curriculum writing will be shifted to goal area 5, and the transportation will be shifted to goal area 3. And then we're just going to have to try to brainstorm the ideas of how we can help our pre-K students. The hardest thing in that area is to know what the need is. It's hard to get that contact with parents and know, where those little tots are at or what they might need. All right, then I'll just go on to goal area 2, and that's going to stay the same as the way it was written at the beginning of the year. All third graders achieve grade level literacy. The outcomes from the 2018-19 school year, we had 11 identified American Indian students. Out of the 11, 3 students met their NWEA growth goal in reading. Of the students who did not meet their goal, 4 of the 11 met the classroom grade level expectations, and this was based on teacher data. It was agreed by the APAC Council that this goal was being met due to 64% of the students were making adequate progress towards their reading goal. So our goal and our strategies are similar for this year. The strategies for 2019 to 20 are the Jordan School District will use culturally responsive techniques and strategies to help increase literacy test scores. The Jordan School District will help utilize our district culturally responsive team and the district equity specialist to ensure classroom teachers are utilizing responsive techniques and strategies for identified American Indian students. The district equity specialist will meet with teachers and students in small groups who are identified first through third grade American Indian students to provide culturally sensitive activities to help increase confidence in literacy skills. The equity specialist will utilize purchase materials, which are books and trunks, and other activities to increase academic needs of the students. So the total budget for that area was $2,675, and that amount was going towards the equity specialist to have dedicated time with our kids. And I'll shift to goal area 3. And like I previously said, this area will be changed to include the transportation costs from goal area 1 that we were asked to shift into different areas. And we also have a little improvement here that we need in our wording. So our outcomes from the 18-19 year, we said that we did not show an achievement gap in reading and math when we compared our overall statistics with state and local. And really, we looked heavily at our own school district because our district does well against state numbers. And so we wanted our students to be measured against that. And that was true. We did not find an achievement gap, and we looked at test scores and what the kids were doing in the classroom fairly extensively. But then our goal for this year, here's where the sort of hiccup was, is we want to decrease the achievement gap. And that didn't make a whole lot of sense maybe if you were just reading that, not in our meetings. But we anticipated, like with larger numbers of students, that we would begin to see achievement gap. And so we just kind of need to reword that and kind of, come up with a better measurable goal. So that's difficult. Knowing where the students come in the fall, we kind of look at maybe where they were in the spring of last year and look at, information from their teachers. We do have, I believe, very good communication with the teachers and getting that information as to, are the kids set up on some type of a learning program, or are they just meeting the classroom expectations and they're not a great test taker, or, we get detailed information like that, so it really does help. So our strategies for the Goal Area 3, the Jordan School District, along with the APAC Council, will increase and review detailed local assessment test scores, review trend data, and make decision on services being provided to our identified American Indian students through targeted after-school services. And that part too has also changed just a little bit. We do still offer one-on-one tutoring, but a lot of people are not interested in that. And, we've talked about what makes more sense for our students. And if they're in an after-school program already, to us it seemed to make more sense because the kids kind of, hit a burnout as far as how much you can work with them per week. It would make more sense to us to provide that transportation that I talked about so that it's accessible if they have working parents or what have you, that they can attend the after-school programs. And then I just wanted to highlight that some of the other, just skipping down midway through that paragraph, the APAC will provide identified American Indian students with culturally appropriate activities to help engage in learning. Activities included are banquet for identified American Indian students to provide awards and recognition with participation in district activities, cultural events through the diverse leadership group, Native American Horse Camp, Native Pride Dancer, and other activities throughout the 1920 school year. And then the budget for that area was $12,451. And we did break that down a little bit because our horse camp does cost $7,000. And then we have $5,451 for the other cultural activities, including the end of the year banquet. And then Goal Area 5, and that one remains unchanged from what we proposed in the fall. The outcomes from the 18-19 school year, we had one student identified as American Indian or Native American. 100% of the identified American Indian students in the school district reached their benchmark on the ACT plan and ACT college readiness assessments. The Jordan School District currently has college in the school's courses available for all students who attend in the school district. The Jordan School District also offers students to take the ACT exam on site. Identified American Indian students took the necessary college entrance exams and are currently enrolled in a post-secondary program. This goal was met 100%. So it's pretty straightforward for one student. This year we have more students and we have 4 potential graduates. So the goal for the 1920 school year, 100% of American Indian students in the district will reach benchmark on ACT plan and ACT college readiness assessments. The identified American Indian students in grades 9 through 12 will be able to take and retake the ACT exam, ACT prep courses, and college visits they are interested in attending, and prepare students for post-secondary and career options. The Jordan School District will create and provide post-secondary folders that will help students become career and post-secondary ready prior to their graduation from Jordan High School. So for that goal area, I'll go into the strategies just a little bit. It's basically done in the same way that the equity specialist tries to form relationships with the younger ages. We were beginning to do that at the high school level now. And so we set aside some money for the equity specialist to do that. And they had folders of information about things that might be available to them, like college scholarships that are for Native Americans. And then it's just rechecking with them throughout the year and meeting with them to see what their needs are. And then, of course, the ACT prep. So our funds would cover prep courses, and they would cover the cost of retaking the ACT exam and college visits up to a capped amount that has been approved.
I'm sorry, and do we do the ACT plan anymore? We do? I thought it was the pre-ACT, or what is the ACT plan? I thought that was like what is that? The ACT plan, I thought it was the pre-ACT now. thought that's what it was called now.
I guess I just remember it as plan.
Okay. I think they changed, is that the one they take the sophomore year? They call it now the pre-ACT. So I just
Oh.
so you know, because that might come up.
Okay.
In rewording kind of thing, so.
Okay. And then I'll just jump down to the budget for that area. We put $7,000 in that budget. Did we list the number? Did we list the number of students in 9 through 12? I don't think we
I don't think we
did.
did in there.
It was basically, I want to say it was right around 7 students.
11.
11.
Is it
Do
11?
we have it in there?
Yep.
Nope, 11 students, you're right.
Oh, I'm sorry, we do. Okay, I skipped that part there. So of 11 students, 9 through 12, we have forged policy as far as, our council goes and how, we have to sort of divide up funds between the age groups. And so of 11 students, we've come up with a cap for a certain number of students to be able to use these funds for something that we would consider a priority, which is like the college and career and any type of post-secondary readiness. So there's a big chunk there. That's $7,000 is the total amount on that area. And that's all I have. If you have questions, I'd be happy to answer best I can.
If you switch to goal 1 to be pre-K, would not your birth to 5-year-olds wouldn't, well, at least your 3 to 5-year-olds could be identified in your preschool screening.
Mm-hmm.
You would be able to identify who your students were. I thought you said you weren't being able to identify.
Their needs, and then it's a matter of, parents putting that on their registration information, and ideally what we would need is like a governmental form filled out, which is called a 506 form. That would help us the most. But if a parent identifies a student, absolutely, we'd love to, get that information. Just because they, for lack of better terms, look Indian or what have you, doesn't mean that, we know who they are.
Right.
So it's a matter of getting that information and having it in our system the way our system kind of likes it. Because also if they notate incorrectly, if they're more than one ethnicity, we lose them.
Right.
And then we try to figure that out just by making contacts with people.
Not all parents fill it out correctly.
Right. A lot of parents don't know how important it is.
Right.
Yeah, they don't get that. Yep. Because that's all stuff that's, somebody makes a rule at the state level and then has no idea how this affects a 4-year-old.
Absolutely. Couldn't say that myself. Well stated.
Anything else?
Any other questions, Fran? I know that Mid-Wacaton is working to promote Native American education.
Mm-hmm.
And actually I'll be meeting with them in a couple weeks with MSBA. So that might be something that we can kind of connect and tie into also.
Absolutely.
To promote what you're doing.
We are actually reaching out to a representative from the Mid-Wacaton to be invited to our council meetings.
That's great. Mhm. That's good.
Yep.
Yeah, and they offer some grant funding. We don't have any details on that yet. And, it would be nice because the grant funding from this program is great, but it can only be used in specific ways.
Right.
And so then if we had other needs from students that can't be helped from these funds, it would be great if we had options.
Yep.
Another thing, I would put it on your notes to invite them next year to the Celebration of Learning, because that is such a great
Oh,
event.
absolutely.
And for them to experience that would really be
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're getting a lot of good things going, so, yeah, that's a good suggestion.
Anything else?
Just a note, Madam Chair, Ann, you work so hard for the kids of the school district, and you provide a great leadership to the APEC, so I just think that should be noted amongst
Yes.
the board.
Oh.
So, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I
It's
would second that.
It's collaborative. I send emails.
You do a lot.
Make phone calls. No, thank you. It's very collaborative, though, really. And there's, a lot of openness right now, and it's just great. I can't say how much that helps everyone.
Great. Thank you very much. Thanks,
Thank you.
Chad. Okay, our next agenda item is ceremonial oath of office, which I know we did give Ryan the oath of office. I believe it was at the December meeting, but this is the official one because this is his first official meeting of his official term.
exactly.
So I'll have you come up, Brian. Okay. It is an honor that you were elected to guide the education of our community's children. As you recite the oath of office, you assume a tremendous responsibility as a director of our school district with the duties empowered by the Minnesota legislature. This power puts you and the other members of our school board in a position of being both morally and legally responsible for equitable, quality education of every student in the district. In carrying out this responsibility, you will be asked to fulfill the roles of vision, structure, accountability, and advocacy. In providing vision, the board, with extensive participation in the community, envisions the community's educational future, and then formulates the goals, defines the outcomes, and sets the course for the public schools. To achieve the vision, the board establishes a structure and creates an environment designed to ensure all students the opportunity to attain their maximum potential through a sound organizational framework. Because as a board, we must be accountable to the community, we must ensure a continuous assessment of student achievement and all conditions affecting the education of our children. As board members, we serve as education's key advocate on behalf of our students and our community schools to advance the vision of our schools. Furthermore, we must strive to work together with the superintendent and staff to lead the district toward fulfilling the vision we have created, fostering excellence for every student in the area of academic skills and knowledge, citizenship, and personal development. So I'm going to be asking you to sign the official acceptance of oath of office. And I hereby publicly affirm your commitment to the oath of office, and I'll have you just read it rather than repeat it after me. So start with I swear.
I swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and of this state, and that I will discharge faithfully the duties of the office of school board member of Independent School District number 717 to the best of my judgment and ability.
You are official. Thank you. And just give it to him. Thank you, Ryan. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Okay. Now he's official. The next item is recognition of Olivia Roush. Lily will be, she goes by Lily, will
No, she
be,
doesn't.
That's her sister.
That's her sister.
oh, sorry. Olivia.
Yeah.
Okay,
It
Oh.
was printed wrong,
okay.
so.
Olivia's not with us, right?
Right.
I think
Okay,
she's at
so
yours.
we will be taking action on changing the policy, which will allow a sophomore to serve on the board, because currently the policy doesn't state that. So she will be seated, I'm hoping, at the next meeting, so we will welcome her then. Next item is 7.3, organization of the board. You want to pull up the duties of the board? This is where we just round robin read the expectations of what our responsibilities are as a board. So I will start and we'll just go round robin. So as a member of the school board, I will attend school board meetings.
Come to the meetings prepared for discussion of the agenda items.
Listen to the opinions and views of others, including but not limited to other school board members, administration, staff, students, and community members.
Vote my conscience after informed discussion unless I abstain because of a conflict of interest exists.
Support the decision of the school board, even if my position concerning the issue was different.
Recognize the integrity of my predecessors and associates and appreciate their work.
Be primarily motivated by a desire to provide the best possible education for the students of my school district.
Inform myself about the proper duties and functions of a school board member.
In performing the proper functions of a school board member, I will focus on education policy as much as possible.
Remember, my responsibility is to set policy, not to implement policy.
Consider myself a trustee of public education and do my best to protect, conserve, and advance its progress.
Recognize that my responsibility exercised through the actions of the school board as a whole is to see that the schools are properly run, not to run them myself.
Work through the superintendent, not over or around the superintendent.
Delegate the implementation of school board decisions to the superintendent.
To maintain relations with other members of the school board, I will respect the rights of others to have and express opinions.
Recognize the authority rests with the school board in legal session, not with the individual members of the school board except as authorized by law.
Make no disparaging remarks in or out of school board meetings about other members of the school board or their opinions.
Keep an open mind about how I will vote on any position until the board has met and fully discussed the issue.
Make decisions by voting in school board meetings after all sides of debatable questions have been presented.
Insist that committees be appointed to serve only in an advisory capacity to the school board.
In meeting my responsibilities to my community, I will attempt to appraise and plan for both the present and future educational needs of the school district and the community.
Attempt to obtain adequate financial support for the school district's programs.
Insist the business transactions of the school district are ethical and open.
Strive to uphold my responsibilities and accountability to the taxpayers in my school district.
In working with the superintendent of schools and staff, I will hold the superintendent responsible for the administration of the school district.
Give the superintendent authority commensurate with his or her responsibility.
Assure that the school district will be administered by the best professional personnel available.
Consider the recommendation of the superintendent in hiring all employees.
Participate in school board action after considering the recommendation of the superintendent and only after the superintendent has furnished adequate information supporting the recommendation.
Insist the superintendent keep the school board adequately informed at all times.
Offer the superintendent counsel and advice.
Recognize the status of the superintendent as the chief executive officer and a non-voting ex officio member of the school board.
Refer all complaints to the proper administrative officer or insist that they be presented in writing to the whole school board for proper referral according to the chain of command.
Present any personal criticisms of employees to the superintendent.
Provide support for the superintendent and employees of the school district so they may perform their proper functions on a professional level.
In fulfilling my legal obligations as a school board member, I will comply with all federal, state, and local laws relating to my work as a school board member.
Comply with all school district policies as adopted by the school board.
Abide by all rules and regulations as promulgated by the Minnesota Department of Education and other state and federal agencies with jurisdiction over school districts.
Recognize that school board district business may be legal transacted only in an open meeting of the school board.
Avoid conflict of interest and refrain from using my school board position for personal gain.
Take no private action that will compromise the school board or administration.
Guard the confidentiality of information that is protected under applicable law.
Thank you. I know that's time consuming, but I think it's really important that we do that every year just to remind ourselves what our duties really are and what our role is. So thank you for that. The next item in the organizational meeting is the election of officers. So the first item of business is election of chair. So I will now take nominations for the election of chair of the board.
I'll nominate Deb Pauley for the chair of the board.
Do we have a choice? Come on.
Second?
Yes, we do have a choice.
Well, yes, I'm being
Rob talking
sarcastic.
like that's gonna get you
She
nominated.
does it very well.
I do have to ask 3 times. Is there any other nominations for chair of the board? Is there any other nominations for chair of the board? Hearing none, I now close the nominations for the chair, and since I am the only candidate nominated for the office of chair, I hereby declare myself, I hate that, elected by acclamation, and direct the acting clerk to so record in the minutes. Okay, nominations for vice chair. I would like to nominate Tom Vogel.
I'd like to second that.
Are there any other nominations for vice chair?
I would suggest someone else have an interest in doing this as well. only because my future plans do not include running next election term. So someone may want to become more familiar with the going-ons is all I mean, I will definitely do it, but if no one else wants to, but I'm just saying it may be something you want to think about.
Okay.
Sandy, do you want to? Connie, do you want to?
Lauren,
No.
do you want? Nope. Looks like it's you.
It's-
No, I get it.
I'm not opposed to doing it, I'm just saying that
Yeah.
if someone, you know.
It's not a tough job, but
No. mm-mm.
it's nice for me to have somebody to bounce things
Right.
off of, which I do a lot.
And you guys saw me try to run the meeting the other day, so clearly it's not tough, but I still can't do it, so.
Yes, you can. Are there other nominations for the vice chair? Rob? Ryan? Okay, are there other nominations for vice chair? Hearing none, I close nominations for vice chair, and Tom Vogel is the only candidate nominated for the office, and I hereby declare him elected by acclamation and direct the acting clerk to so record in the minutes. Okay, clerk, I will now take nominations for clerk.
I'm gonna nominate Sandy Burke for clerk. She does it so very well.
Okay, are there any other nominations for clerk? Are there any other nominations for clerk? Hearing none, I'll close the nominations for the office of.
Second.
No, you
second,
don't.
sorry.
Actually, you don't need
Oh.
seconds.
No seconds?
No, you don't need
Just
seconds
nominations.
for nominations, right, yeah. So Sandy Burke is the only candidate nominated for the office of clerk, and I hereby declare her elected by the acclamation and direct the acting clerk to do so in the minutes, to record so in the minutes. Treasurer, I will now take nominations for treasurer.
I nominate Connie Hennon.
Are there any other nominations for treasurer? Are there any other nominations for treasurer? Hearing none, I close the nominations for treasurer, and Connie Hennon is the only candidate nominated for the office of treasurer, and I hereby declare her elected by acclamation and direct the acting clerk to so record in the minutes. Thank you. That's gonna change. This is all gonna change. Okay,
Next year, we'll just
Yeah,
it'll
I
change.
I know, I
Why mess
know.
with a good thing?
Yeah, it's-
Mine won't, probably, but.
the next thing we have are, the establishments, and I think if it's okay with everyone, we'll just do these in bulk. We'll do them all together with one motion. We have the treasurer's bond set at $100,000. Depositories are Franson, Riverland, Midslap, Hometown Bank, Minnesota Trust. The Jordan Independent is the newspaper. Investment Authority, our superintendent and finance director. Meeting dates are set at second Monday and fourth Monday unless noted otherwise on the calendar because of legal holidays. And our legal counsel, Ratzwig, Rozak, and Maloney. Don't we want to add?
No, she now works for them.
Hmm?
She works for them now.
Oh. What about?
She works for them.
Oh, she does too? Okay. Okay, so that's the only law firm that we're currently using, okay? And that doesn't mean that we can't if we, okay.
Right.
Okay, so I will entertain a motion to approve all of the establishments.
So moved.
Connie, is there a second?
Second.
Sandy, okay, discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Board member compensation. I think in light of the financial situation, this hasn't changed, I don't know when,
It's almost 10 years ago, I think.
at least 10 years ago, but I think in light of our financial situation,
yeah.
I recommend that we leave our compensation as is, which we are really low compared to other districts, but in my opinion, that's okay. We did make a change to clarify the half-day meetings and the full-day meetings, because it used to be we did a weekend, weekday thing, which really wasn't fair. So we just did, if it's less than 4 hours a day, it would be a half-day at 125. If it's more, 225. Is everybody okay with that?
Mhm.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Tom?
Second.
Second, Rob, discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, the committee assignments were attached. I'll just open this up. Does anybody want to change committees? And this is the time to, if you have an interest in something else, want to switch to a different committee?
I have a question on the Booster Club, because I'm listed as the Booster Club person. I thought I was the alternate because Rob's actually on the Booster Board, right?
Yep.
So, I don't know, when I read this earlier, I had me, and so I'm wondering if we should have him as the booster and me as the alternate?
No, I think because he's the board member.
Oh,
you
because
should
he's the
be-
board member, he
I
can't?
think you should be, and, well.
Okay, then that's fine. I just wasn't sure, he's already going, so
Right.
I'll stay.
Or, I don't know, your interest, Ryan, in terms of participating in that.
No, I'll stay on it. I just
mean,
thought
yeah.
it was, since you were already there, I didn't think,
Yeah,
I didn't think conflict of interest when I was reading that. I
Yeah,
was like,
I'm going anyway.
yeah, he's
So-
going
Yeah.
anyway.
I don't know.
So then
if
do we
there's-
have to list him as, on that, if he's on that board? Do we have to list him as our rep on that, on?
Depends on which capacity he's there. If he's there as a booster club board.
I'm
member.
usually there as a capacity of a booster club member, but.
Right, and then yeah.
I think the point of this committee, or, yeah, this particular appointee probably is to look at it as a school board member, you know, during that business meeting of that booster club entity, so I think it's probably wise to have a separate
I
person.
agree. Okay, then I'll stay. I like
Okay.
Booster Club, so.
Ryan, you're okay with being the alternate when Lauren can't go?
Sure.
Okay.
Somebody else wants to go.
If anybody would like to give up, or to like to take over the Region 5, South Central, Metro ECSU, I'm willing to give that up.
That's a real time-consuming one, isn't it?
It's really not, but I can never, it seems like I can never attend, there's only one meeting a year that you can even attend, because they have executive committee meetings for the ECSU one. But, I mean, if anybody wants to do that, I would be, it's really not a very active thing, but if somebody wants to take it over and breathe new life, they certainly could.
Do you want to just you and me flip-flop?
Sure.
We can flip-flop it, but somebody's just got, I didn't even know there was a meeting to attend, because I could have probably gone as the alternate, so.
I mean, yeah, yeah. There's only, for the Metro ECSU one, there is. I don't know that there is anything for Region 5, and South Central, they really don't either. So you get, yeah, there isn't really a specific meeting commitment. I've gone once when they had an open house to the ECSU one, but you learn a lot, but yeah, I can forward you the emails and the newsletters too.
We can flip-flop it if you want to break from it. I mean,
I do, kind of.
that's fine. Okay.
Just for this year at least. So, it's a busy
Okay.
year.
Did you get that home?
Flip-flop Sandy and I on that, and then just get me added to whatever the communications are.
Okay, anybody else?
Anyone interested in the meet and confer? I struggle to get there,
What time is
to
it
be
at?
honest. It's
Yeah,
right
I
after
struggle there
school on
too.
Wednesdays.
Oh.
It's
Oh,
not
no, I
very
can't.
often, but I always struggle to get there.
I for sure can't. I have speech practice.
It's what, 3-4 times a year?
Yeah,
3 or 4 times a year.
3, I think.
Wednesdays at,
3:50.
3:15.
And it's fine, I mean,
I can do it if you want, given the,
wanna do it, right?
yeah, sure, if it's quarterly, I can do it.
Okay, so we'll put Ryan in there then.
We have one coming up next Wednesday.
I will not be there.
I should be able to make that.
Okay. Rob, can you make that one?
I'm looking right now. Yes, the 15th,
Yep,
3 o'clock or 3:30 or
3:15.
3:15. Okay, got it.
Yeah, I can't make that. I'll be down at MSBA, so if you guys are there, that'd be good. Okay, so we're putting Ryan in for a meet and confer and taking Tom off, and we're switching on Exu. We're switching Sandy and Lauren. Okay. Anybody else? Anything?
I did have one, and I can't remember which one it was.
Do we have any issues with that education foundation? Or either Deb or you or Connie, are you guys either part of the board, or is that not a?
Well,
part of a-
Connie and I were both representatives, but I have a hard time getting there because it's always Southwest Metro's board night, typically. So if anybody is interested in,
Well, and they've backed off. No, it's not, they're not they're past the formative right now, so I think they'll meet less.
And they're meeting more as subcommittees. But when they have the big group, if somebody else wants to sit on that, I would be happy to give that up.
I can take that.
Lauren? Okay.
Yeah.
You're taking on a lot.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Not really. I
Okay.
don't think so. There's one more that I had a question on.
Were you interested, Rob?
Well,
Oh, you
I-
can do it if you want.
Well, I might be interested just to see kind of what it's about a little
Yeah, I was
bit
gonna
more,
say, I would
but
be too.
if I needed to kind of step in a capacity, I could probably do it.
Okay.
But at the same time too, I don't want
No,
to steal thunder.
no, go right ahead. If you want it, you can do it.
I think they're down to only meeting, isn't it quarterly?
A quarterly,
Correct.
Okay.
they meet their individual, like their marketing and their advertising and whatever, they meet by themselves. And then they'll come back once, they might meet shortly before they do the grants or something.
Shar told me they're working on the grants like this week or
No.
next
Yep.
week. So then they'll probably have a full
Meeting.
group meeting.
Yep, because we haven't met in quite a while.
Well, okay, how about Ryan, if you're willing to go on there and I'll go off of that, that would be.
You mean
Right.
Rob?
No, Rob.
I mean Rob, yeah, sorry. Where is that one?
After curriculum.
It's up, under Education Foundation. Do you need an alternate for that one, or no?
Because I've already done policy. I don't.
Oh, yeah, Lauren, if you're interested, we can put you down as an alternate.
Put me down as the alternate. No, I'm not going on I've
Okay.
been on,
I'm just- no, I'm
I
just
just want a
saying.
2-year break
I
from
mean, I'm
policy.
just-
So I'm on my 1-year break, I'm
I'm
taking
just trying
another
to open
one.
up opportunities.
Okay, I put Rob down, in my place and then Lauren down as the alternate. Okay. Education Foundation, yep. Anything else? Anybody else want on or off of anything? Okay, if not, I need a motion to approve the standing committees.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Lauren, discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, can I ask a question, even though we just did that vote? I'm so
Sure.
sorry. I could have sworn the PBIS was on here, and now it's not on here.
It is on there.
Where?
I think it's combined with something.
It is
It's Safe
combined.
and Support of Schools
Yep.
/ PBIS Committee.
Ah, okay, there it is.
Did you want off that one?
No, I didn't want off it, but I don't, they meet, what, once a quarter? And I don't.
You don't know about it?
I haven't gone, I don't feel like I've gone to one for the last 2 quarters.
Are you not getting the invites?
I don't know.
I don't think they've met.
Okay.
Oh, they haven't met?
No.
Okay, no, that was my only other question that I wanted to, but I couldn't find it, I had to go look, so.
Okay.
No, I'm fine at staying on that one.
Okay, next we have the board calendar. That's a, pardon? What'd I miss?
Right, this one.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm sorry, I missed that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the district delegate's authority to make electronic funds transfers. to
So
the-
moved.
Okay, yeah, Sandy? Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Lauren, discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Now are we on to the board calendar?
Yes.
Okay. This is a living document, so it's just kind of a monthly snapshot of what needs to be done. So if anybody ever has any input or anything, that would be good. So, I'll entertain a motion to approve the board calendar.
So moved.
Connie, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Lauren? Oops, go ahead. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Who made the second? Sorry, who made the? I don't know where she.
I made the second.
Okay, hold on. Who made, sorry,
I moved,
Con-
I made the
Connie.
motion.
Connie and then
Lauren,
Lauren.
sorry. We were transferring stuff as
Sure.
you were
That's fine.
talking, so.
Okay, 7.6, confidentiality and conflict of interest policy. In front of you, you have the annual policy that we have to sign. You have to disclose if you have any actual or potential conflicts of interest with the district, like if you're doing business with them or anything, list that. Otherwise, just sign the document and give it to Hope before the end of the evening. That's not an action item. Okay, consent agenda. 8.1, we have the December 9th regular meeting and the Truth and Taxation meeting. We have the December financials. Donations, we have Mighty Cause for the food shelf, $145. John Gullner, high school band trip, $500. Kathy Pedersen, JES lunch accounts, $500. Dennis and Diane Schrader, elementary school music department, $20. Boyd Perkins Group for a Zen room in the middle school.
Middle, elementary, we have one at the high school. so.
Okay, $1,000. Corey Templin for middle school industrial arts, $10. Hometown Bank JMS field trips, $200. Mark and Diane Anhalt, middle school, $25. We have the policies, the student rep policy, and we also have the repeal of all of the student club policies. And there's a footnote there explaining the whole process with that. And then there's a safety and security procedure, which that's an annual thing, right, that we approve. New hires, we have Cassie Kruger at a BA1, long-term special ed teacher, middle school long-term English teacher Erin Wells, BA1, assistant dance coach Ashley Jurek, per Schedule C. Karen Schomer, middle school cooks helper, step 1. Kids company group leader Amber Lamprecht, grade 2, step 1. Kids company group leader Isabel Hayden, grade 4, step 1. Elementary school site lead Kelly Razor, step 4. Middle school coach resignation. Middle school knowledge bowl coach Travis Paulson, resignation. Middle school nurse Michelle Grimscheid. Resignation, high school custodian Marcus Volamas. Leave of absence, a request for Kaylee Doherty, leave of absence for Katie McKnight, leave of absence for Kim Krautkramer, and 2021 contract for Joe Perkel, activities director. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent items. Looking for a motion.
Motion to approve.
I'll
Tom? Second, Ryan. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Action items, 9.1, review and act on the 2021 district calendar.
All right, so the process that's used, really Hope and I create the draft, and we create several options. We take input from our administrative team on things such as conference nights and, really conference nights, workshop days, those types of things. We then have a calendar committee that's made up of teachers from all 3 buildings, and they also provide that input. This year, we extended a step further simply because Labor Day is so late, and we were running into concerns about going into that second full week in June. So we presented 2 different options to the entire school district. One option was to have a traditional for Jordan, at least in modern era, week-long spring break. And the other option was to pair spring break with the Easter holiday. And the pairing of spring break with the Easter holiday was the one that received the most votes overwhelmingly. So what it looks like, if you look at that particular time of the year, the students actually will have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday off, whereas faculty would have Friday the 2nd and Monday the 5th. And again, that's paired with Easter. What that does is it achieves the goal of ending school that first week of June, even though Labor Day is on the 7th, which is quite late. Going forward, one of the things that is an option to us as a school district is submit an alternative learning year plan to the Minnesota Department of Ed. And once you submit that, they go through an approval process, and the school district could potentially have approval for 3 years pre-Labor Day start, if approved. Neighboring school district New Prague has this as an option. Of course, you know, if you have a building project that's $400,000 or greater, you are allowed to start before Labor Day. But that's the only exception unless you have this alternative learning year. So that's something that we can certainly take a look at. I have several administrative team members that are meeting tomorrow, actually to take a look at the requirements of that application, determine, you know, what's involved with that. We have to prove educational benefit, of course, of starting pre-Labor Day. Part of it is community engagement. What does the community feel about a pre-Labor Day start, et cetera, et cetera. That's not going to happen for next year. So I would say that we work toward an application and determine whether or not we want to move forward with maybe the 2020, 2021 calendar, or 2021, 2022 calendar, and then 22, 23. That would round out the 3-year application period. Does that make sense?
Okay, this is an action item, so I'm looking for a motion.
So moved.
Sandy, discussion? Or second? I'm looking for a second.
Second.
Lauren, okay, discussion. Lauren?
Is graduation on Memorial Day weekend?
Memorial Day would be the 31st, yes.
Oh, wait.
It would be,
So it's on Memorial Day weekend?
correct.
Yep. Oh, yeah, it is.
When was the last time we've had less than 5 days for spring break?
A few years ago when we did construction.
Yeah, it was during the
Middle
During
school
construction.
renovation?
Yep.
2014, 2015 school
We had
year.
no spring break,
Correct.
Right.
so we just had that Good Friday off and that was it.
So is the assumption that there's gonna be an increase in absences?
No, people go when they want to go anyway. It's dictated by, you know,
Right.
when people can get the best flights, quite honestly.
I mean, I like doing it over April, it would be nice to get a couple more days out of it.
It's a pretty late, I mean, it's late as it is for people wanting to fly south.
By comparison, New Prague's spring break this year, I believe, is the week of April 8th. If there is such a week, it's
So
late.
it'd be the week after
It-
Easter.
Yeah, so we traditionally have that last week in March.
Mm-hmm.
Belle Plains this year, I believe, is the second week of March. It's really early this year. Because they did something, they added 20 minutes to each day so they could get out earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I know Prior Lakes have been going the teen week of March for a long time too, so it's,
Oh.
just depends on
Yep.
the
They
district.
added 20 minutes to every day so they could get out before June 1st? Do they always have their graduation then on Memorial Day weekend?
I don't know about that, but, they're getting out very early this year, so.
I guess, I mean, in lieu of the longer spring break, it looks like the break around the holidays is about 12 calendar days, which seems pretty long.
Say that again, Brian?
I'm just looking at the calendar and how how it falls over the end of the
Oh,
year,
you're
Christmas.
thinking all of them, sure.
Looks like it's about 12 calendar days, which is a little bit longer than this year.
I think we added, and on the calendar committee, we discussed that, we talked about possibly not going or possibly going to school on the 23rd, is that what you're talking about? On December 23rd? And then the teachers, I think, kind of really wanted that particular day added back in as opposed to having it taken from somewhere, as opposed to having it somewhere else. So, and I can't remember where that was.
Yeah, I mean, that would be one place that you could steal a day,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and then you could either choose to, have the last student contact day the 2nd of June, or you could add a day onto the spring break, but
Right.
as Sandy said, that was discussed amongst that committee and did not,
They wanted the 23rd.
yeah.
2-day weeks are tough, though. I mean, I'm just like, at my work, right? Like 3 days, that feels like a week, right? A full week. 2 days at the start of the week.
I hear you.
It was nice last week, though. That was a good short week.
That
True.
was.
That was
I agree.
good. That
Actually,
was a
well,
good short week.
I worked Monday and it just felt like it went on forever.
Yeah, this is when, when Labor Day is that late, it really is a balancing act, and, to me, it speaks volumes if the teachers voted and this was what they chose versus,
I just did this at work and this is a crazy year. I mean, it's a leap year, right? There's 29 days in February.
Right.
Yes.
And it seems like the calendar is off kilter this year.
yeah,
It is.
yeah.
We could certainly look at trying to expedite that application. I forget when the deadline is. I believe it's February sometime. The only concern I have there is how do you ask families whether or not they would want to start before Labor Day?
Right.
Yeah.
You're gonna have probably 50-50
Yeah.
split on people's feelings there, I know.
For sure.
It's always a hot button topic. That's why the legislature does nothing with it.
Exactly. Yeah, the tourism industry. What's
Well,
it,
and our
Marcia?
4-H'er kids are at the fair. and,
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's a big one.
Yeah.
This was just the best case scenario, honestly, to end that first week in June. Try to look at some other options, but there really wasn't.
When's the seniors' last day? Is it the Friday before graduation, or is it?
Jeff, typically, what is it, the Wednesday prior?
They come back on Thursday.
Seniors'
for
last day,
rehearsal.
the Wednesday prior to graduation Saturday?
Yeah, I don't remember the day before.
Then
too.
Thursday we do practice,
Yeah.
Friday they're off, and
They only have 1 day.
So
really.
their last day would be then
Except for
May
the middle of
26th, if they,
26th.
Yeah.
commencement is the 28th, Labor Day Saturday.
Yep, commencement would be the 29th.
How many years have we had
28th.
commencement
29th,
on Labor
yeah,
Day
that's a-
weekend? Or
Pardon?
Memorial Day weekend? How many, I know we've done it before, once before.
We did it the year of the construction project.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
is that the only, and how was that perceived?
I didn't hear any
Okay.
complaints. That doesn't mean there weren't any. I just didn't hear them.
I think it's gonna be another one of those 50/50s where some
Right.
people, it will be a
They
big
like the long
advantage
weekend.
because then relatives can come from farther away.
Right.
And then others are like, well, we wanted to travel that weekend, so.
It usually rains and it's
Yeah.
cold anyway. so.
Exactly.
One thing you're not running into is
Hopefully
any
not.
sporting events on that weekend.
Yes,
Like,
that
there's no
is
state
true.
baseball
There's
or
no
softball or
That's so true, no
track
track.
or nothing.
That'd be good.
That's the one
That's
thing you don't
true.
run into any of those, where those
Yeah.
kiddos are either missing or like coming hauling in.
That is a good point.
What was the reaction to the compressed spring break when we had it? Was there any,
They're saying we didn't even have one though.
We didn't even have one.
and that was?
I mean, I think it was just like, it was like a Easter, it was Good Friday and maybe Easter Monday, I can't remember.
Okay.
I think people just knew that it was just a one-year thing, so it was like not
But
that-
was there something that was tied to it?
It might have been the end of the quarter, we might have had,
Construction.
we might have had
But it was-
one
okay,
day
so-
off.
Building
The
this.
construction
We
of
might have
this
had one
building
day
in the
off or
middle
something
school.
like
Well,
So
yeah,
in
and
this
so.
case,
Friday.
it would be tied to, we want to be able to start after Labor Day, and we want to be able to end that first week of June. That would be the
And the first
rationale.
week of
Yeah.
June is the.
Yes.
Okay.
And I agree.
Because it gets
I
tough if you
agree.
go into that second week of June.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's
It is.
just
Well,
pretty
in,
much.
in the extended school year, applications, the main talking point or the main application point is you want to get your instruction in prior to the MCAs.
Right.
You know, so, the more days you can have prior to that, the better. It's hard to argue against that.
No, I wonder in that, when you're talking about going the before Labor Day thing, if we don't move that first week of school, what we usually do with the kindergarten and all that just to the week before. So even if that's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it gets you
Oh.
3 more days in, it doesn't, I wonder if that's something you might do though.
Yeah, that's a good idea, because that wouldn't interfere so much with the state fair and
No, it wouldn't
that.
quite as much.
Not as much, somewhat it would, but not
I
as
don't know.
much.
That's a really good idea, Tom.
How can you,
what you usually, right now, you've got down for the 1st through the 3rd, and maybe it's not next year, but then you move that to the 26th through the 28th.
How will that work with the teachers'
Yeah,
contracts?
teachers' workshop. Oh, that's right, that's,
Because they're not gonna wanna,
yeah, then we're getting
Yeah.
into the teacher
But
contracts.
you're ending the school year earlier too, then, if you're doing that, you know what I'm saying? So you're not adding days to the contract.
Right.
Right,
No,
or,
but
or
you're
you're, or
moving
you're
their-
taking spring break off, you know, you're not adding student days. What you're
No.
doing is just moving stuff.
But we're adding their
But you're
workshop.
moving
We'd have to-
workshop
we'd have to
week
You have
start
to move
prior.
your workshop week
earlier.
yeah.
And that
Yeah.
probably.
And I'm not saying for next year, but maybe for the following year, it's something to look at, that stuff where we do a lot of goofy stuff the first 3 days, if that was moved to the week before.
The only problem with that is part of the reason why we do that is because the traffic up here is a nightmare. That first day of school, when you have all the buildings and everything starting at the same time,
Yeah.
it's nuts.
Yeah.
It is a major safety hazard. I mean, that was really the impetus for that whole thing, is that's why we started it. And then there were educational benefits that came as a byproduct to it. But honestly, I remember my first year here, I said, we will never do this again, because it was,
Yeah, it was a nightmare.
it's chaos.
It is.
Well, I'm just saying, move it back a week, not even a week.
Yeah, but
3 days.
that
No
causes,
different.
it still will cause all the kids to come to school on the same day,
Yeah.
right?
No, it'll have the exact same schedule as you did before. As you do right now, you're just moving it back 3 days. So what you do right now on the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, where the freshmen go and the kindergartners don't, and they do their thing, you would just move all those activities to the 26th, 27th, 28th, rather than being on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd.
but we count those as days of school.
Right.
Right.
So you, unless you get
That's what
special
I'm saying.
Permission.
If you get special permission, I'm saying special permission,
All right,
maybe you
I'm
bump
following
it
you
3.
now.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're
I
bumping it
wasn't
back
following
3, and then
either,
you've got
okay.
either the opportunity to go longer spring break or get out earlier on
Gotcha.
future calendars.
Gotcha.
Sure.
And maybe it's not appropriate for this year because we're kind of late into the game, but maybe going forward, that's one of your, one of the things that we look at. But I'm for starting early, other than it does affect some of those kids because a lot of them are already here doing other activities. The school year is kicked off for a lot of kids prior to.
It does
Labor
affect some
Day.
sports though, too.
What's that?
It would affect some sports too, because a lot of them they might have like a game or a meet or something like that during the day.
Right, yeah. They'd have to go to
Yeah.
afternoon ones, yeah.
What, when you guys were looking at this for the spring break, just because it is kind of so truncated, did you consider the idea of just peeling back the 2nd and the 5th and using those as other opportunities to kind of spread out throughout the year or potentially bank them? I mean, if you're not going to have a spring break, say you're not having a spring break, don't,
The
kind of
second-
scenario?
The 2nd isn't an option because Good
Good
Friday is in
Friday.
the teacher's contract.
Okay,
So that has to be, they have to have that off. That is in the teacher's contract.
okay. And then the
So-
5th, so the 5th would be the only date that would potentially be a variable?
Yeah, you can move the 5th.
So the idea would be, instead of having a Monday off, we just have another Friday and have a 3-day weekend somewhere else.
Oh,
I guess I was just, not suggesting that, just saying, was that something that was potentially raised?
I think they like the idea of having at least the
40.
4 days,
Yeah.
if they want to go anywhere, travel to see family, and usually the day after Easter, the kids are pretty hyped. So the
Yes.
teachers prefer not to have them.
Yes.
Oh, I guess
100%
I was
yes.
thinking about it more kind of from the parent's perspective, and okay, here's the week. Let's get some structure, everyone's back to work
Let's
type of
send
thing.
these sugared kids off to the teachers. instead
Got
of
it,
having-
understood, okay. All right.
Same with Adult
Okay,
Development.
so we have a motion and a second. We've had good discussion, so I think we need to vote one way or another. So all those in favor of approving, you want to have more discussion? I'm seeing some grimaces.
I'm good.
Some questions, Rob? You have some?
This is a recommendation, that's fine.
I don't think the spring break's gonna be terribly popular, but I think it's a calendar that is just not gonna be great next year.
I just think we have to communicate it,
Yep.
because.
Communicate it's a one-time thing. I mean, it's not really, because the next year we might have to have a
Next
similar
year's just
situation.
as awful,
Yeah,
Next year is.
unless you get an application approved.
right. But it's not a permanent, like, we're not permanently taking away spring break, I guess, is,
Who
I
knows if
I just think
gets-
it creates
if it's well-
confusion. That's the problem.
Pardon?
I think it just kind of creates kind of a confusion. I mean, like in my mind, like there was an event that was tied to not having that. This one, there is kind of a reason, but it's,
What's the aversion to going deeper into June?
It's June.
Well, I get that. I'm just, in Chaska, where I
Everybody
went to
has
school, we never
checked
got
out.
off, it was the full 2 weeks of June. That's just what I was asking.
I mean, they were given that option.
Well, I get why the teachers don't like that. And what you're saying about the testing makes sense too, to try and get the days ahead of the testing.
I would rather not go
When
into
does the
June. I'd rather be
extended
done on
school
May
year
31st,
begin?
but I don't
mean,
like
when does summer
commencement on
school-
Memorial
When
Day
does that
weekend.
typically begin?
We can set that.
But do they usually get time off in between?
Not much.
Okay.
Okay. Let's vote. All those in favor of approving this challenging calendar, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have a calendar for next year. Review and act on the Kraus-Anderson contract. Mr. Helgerson.
You've seen this before. Nothing's changed since the last time I shared it with you. So essentially, we would pay for services associated with a referendum campaign, if there was a referendum campaign. And that's obviously going to be dictated by whether or not the survey results, which is 9.3, show that the community supports in a referendum effort. So essentially, we're not out any money with the Kraus-Anderson contract unless we run a referendum campaign.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion to approve 9.2.
Motion to approve.
Tom, is there a second?
second.
Rob, discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 9.3, review and act on the school perceptions contract.
Similarly, this is something that we've reviewed in workshop and also at our regular December meeting. And we're all set to begin our survey work with our staff first, and then a community engagement survey later on this spring. I think we've discussed the cost associated with that and the services associated with that. So unless there's questions, I don't have anything additional to add.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
A motion.
Ryan, is there a second?
I'll second.
Lauren, discussion? Do we have a timeline when we're gonna start moving on that?
The staff survey starts Thursday.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, because I was a little confused, because it says staff survey in November, and I was.
That was the original.
Okay.
It's revised now. I can send
Okay.
you the revised time frame, but it's gonna be open starting this Thursday, the 9th, and I wanna say it's open until the 15th.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's step one, and then obviously they're working on the community engagement survey pieces. We'll be working on it post-approval. So the staff survey is very much more of climate. What do you feel about district initiatives? What do you feel about? It's pretty standard, questionnaire, but the community engagement survey will be more tailored to the last referendum and questions about that, financial support, and did you know this about the school district, that type of thing.
Will
So-
the teacher survey also be doing that as well, doing what their support was of the survey, or will they be hit when they do the community?
Only if they're residents and voting residents, then they'll get it. They'll get the
As
community.
part of the community, so we wouldn't see what they were, the
Right.
collective perception of the staff was for the,
That's right.
okay.
I think if we said we'd like to know that, even from non-voting members, they wouldn't be adverse to, sending the survey to them. We'll just have to separate that out a little bit.
Okay.
So we're about 6 weeks behind from this original timeline, but the community survey draft on this was February 10th. Do they feel they can still make that timeline to?
That's what I was gonna ask.
Because I think the June date is probably pretty important.
Yeah.
To have it completed by that point.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep, I know I got a bunch of questions today. I got some over the holidays. I know they're working on it, so, just, I'm not terribly concerned about that. I know that, when we have retreat night 2, we're gonna be having a conference call earlier in the day to finalize that survey, so that's end of January. Or come close to finalizing, I suppose, provide some input on their draft. So I'm not concerned. I think they obviously do a lot of this, so I think they can put it out pretty quickly.
So there's about a 3-week window, it looks like, from mailing to survey close.
Okay, any other thoughts or questions? If not, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Review and act on local control resolution. This is a resolution that MSBA has come up with, and they're asking school districts to support it, and then they'll be presenting it to our legislators, both nationally and locally. And basically, it's just reinforcing the fact that we want local control at our boards. We don't want the legislature mandating and dictating everything that we do, that local boards have that prerogative. So I will entertain a motion to approve that local control resolution.
Motion to approve?
Lauren, is there a second?
I'll second.
Ryan, discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Sandy, will you make a note that Hope should then forward that resolution on to MSBA?
Yes.
Thank you. Review and act on the wrestling field trip to Hutchinson.
I believe this is a section tournament for individuals.
Is this normal when it's that close to have it as an overnighter? Is that, I don't know enough about wrestling tournaments that.
Joe's here, right? I don't know that, in my time here, that during the section tournament, that we've had an overnight stay in a hotel, but they're funding it through their, the Scott West Booster Club, so there's no cost from the
To the
district.
Okay.
Typically, you have like, I mean, are the weigh-ins the day before? It's been a long time since I've been, but I mean, I'm thinking that with wrestling sections, it's gonna be more than, a little bit more involved, and probably an early start.
Well, I think sometimes they, you can, your head coach or your AD can take them and they can be done here.
Oh, really?
So I don't know that we've done this stay overnight.
I can speak to this one
Yeah,
if you guys are all
okay,
right.
please.
I know that when it was at Mankato, even in Mankato, they've always stayed overnight because they wrestle late onto Friday night.
Oh, okay.
And then it's an hour home and then an hour back, so it
Yeah.
just, it allows them more time for rest and
Sure.
sleep and those things, and, because it's individual, this is individuals, right? Yeah. And then they start up right away at like 8 or 9 in the morning and the weigh-ins and those things, so.
Okay.
That's where it comes from, that's the history of it, and they've been doing it since I was AD, so.
Okay.
Thanks,
Okay.
Jeff.
Yep.
Yep, thank you. Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Connie, is there a second?
Second.
I'll give it to
Roush
Tom.
can have it.
Okay, who are we giving it to?
Give to
Connie.
Laura.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 9.6, robotics trip. To be honest with you, I didn't have a chance to really look at where this is going or what it is.
This is a second qualifier opportunity, so, they obviously participate in the one at the University of Minnesota, and this is a second opportunity to participate in a competition, which obviously if you do well enough, you can qualify for national competition. So they have been talking about doing this the last couple of years, and
I noticed that the transportation type is school vans and parent drivers. Are parent drivers driving their own students, or are they driving a bunch of kids? That's a good question.
it's a good question. they would have to be, I mean, if they're gonna drive our vans, obviously, we would make them be, type 3 vehicle certified to be able
Gotcha.
to do that.
Okay. Oh, wait a minute, maybe it's down further.
I think this is great. I really
I
like
do
to
too.
see the
Yep.
promotion
I
of the
do too.
robotics club, and the more that they can compete at different levels, I mean, it's,
I agree.
it's a great opportunity for them, so just makes them all the better.
It shows 2 team coaches, so 2 team coaches, would they be staff?
It's, yeah, it's the approved coaches that we have.
Okay, so
It's Grand Forks, so.
far drive.
Motion to approve.
Oh, I have a motion. Is there a
Second.
second? Was that Lauren?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we all are, you know,
We're all in
I'm I think it's a great trip and a great
great.
opportunity for them. It was just
Yep.
the driving and,
The one thing I was going to add is there are a couple of supervisors that probably need to get a background check, and that we'll just let our coach know, board approved pending that everyone listed for chaperones is background checked.
Perfect. Perfect.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Joe. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we have a full night ahead of us, so we're gonna try to really whip through this board and administrative report part. Mr. Helgerson, I wanna do the,
Yeah, obviously, we do this every month, and you can get a chance to just see a snapshot of where enrollment is. We're sitting at 1887, and that includes that pre-K again. I just want to make sure everybody understands. So when we look at pre-K, we count this number as half because we don't get fully funded there. So that number is added into the K4, 5, 8, 9, 12. So that's where we get that 1887. And this number, this 1912, that was our budgeted projection. So you can see that we're short of budgeted projection by 25 students.
25.
So the second page or the second sheet in that document, of course. Kind of just tracks that revenue. How close we were. And obviously, there's a bit of a shortfall associated with our adopted budget and what we'll have to put in for a revised budget. You look at the what if, we were projecting 13.5, and, or actually 200. You know, if you look at the October count, 13.3, a couple $100,000 short.
Okay.
okay.
Okay. We don't have administrative reports. That's all covered in our board retreat that we'll be dealing with shortly. Anything more on the APAC, Sandy, or anything?
That's pretty much what we covered. So we went over basically the budget, and that was the bulk of our
Okay.
meeting, so.
Good. Scale?
Had a scale meeting, they did their kind of end of the year deal, and we got one this Friday.
Okay. Calendar committee, I think we covered that.
Yep.
Curriculum and technology.
I'm assuming curriculum will cover, in our, in our
Retreat.
next meeting,
Mm-hmm.
or our next meeting after this today. We did, yep, we will.
Okay. ULA meetings, accomplished it. Meetings went well, and we came to an agreement, so that's a good thing, so.
We're still waiting on confirmation from Ed Minnesota's
Yeah.
legal staff, but haven't heard anything since we got a tentative agreement on the language.
Okay. Booster Club?
Nothing huge. I'd just say probably make sure for all the games that are going on in the gym, check out Jordan Activities. It's fantastic, and the scoreboard is really really cool too. And it's also a neat opportunity where Booster Club and school
found a way to be able to partner.
It's awesome.
Have y'all seen the activities guide that they just put out at the last round of games? It looks so nice.
The what?
The winter
yes.
activities guide.
Very nice.
Oh,
It's got
yeah.
everything in there. It's got robotics, it's got clay, it's got everything. It's really nice.
Really nice, yeah. Coral, yeah, good. Any other, does anybody else have any other comments that they feel is urgent? Otherwise, we'll just save all that for our retreat coming up. Don't
Well,
forget
I
to-
would just, Madam Chair, I'd like
Yeah.
to make a comment to that, to Lauren's point. Thanks to Serena Pulowski, Serena Pulowski and Tina Davis, especially Serena. I mean, she does all the work around that activities guide, and Tina's just the doer. So those two have really worked hard to make sure that all of our activities are well represented in that guide.
I just wanted to remind people the One Act Play Festival is the 17th and 18th, so it's a week from Friday, so it's right when we get back from MSBA, so just encourage you to go.
Yeah, and just before we move on, just make sure you bring this with to the conference next week. I look forward to seeing you all there. Thursday, we're doing the luncheon, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll be doing the leadership luncheon. I believe Sandy will be getting an award there. And it's a little bit overwhelming for the newbie. So you might want to try to go through the workshops and make some decisions, and then we'll be doing a group dinner on Thursday night. Otherwise, should be a good conference.
I love this conference.
And we can probably discuss carpool offline here, but we can do some carpool.
Yeah.
It seems to work well.
Yeah, we usually do, yeah. Sounds good. Yeah, they have some good keynote speakers. It's gonna be the 100th anniversary, so there'll be some fun stuff with that and stuff, so it should be a good conference. So, anything else?
No, other than I would say that,
So yes.
yes.
Other than that, the Vikings won yesterday.
Push off. As we go through our retreat tonight, just in relationship to attending the MSBA conference, the work we do tonight and the questions you might have as a result of that, or the focus that we want to develop, I think just keep that in mind as you're looking at the different speakers and sessions that you want to attend. That's all I want to say.
Okay,
Move to adjourn.
we are adjourned.
Get these to home.
Oh, yes.